What is up, you guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Mackenzie. If you're not new, thank you for coming back. So today's video is going to be super chill, very chatty video. I'm just going to cut some glass out while I talk to you guys and answer the most asked question that I get, and that is, how did I really become a full-time stained glass artist? So by full-time stained glass artist, I mean this is how I pay all of my bills. This is my career. I make all of my money making and selling my stained glass art online. So we're going to answer all that and some in today's video. So if that sounds like something you're into, let's get started. Alrighty guys, so like I said, we're talking about how I actually became a full-time stained glass artist. I am going to try to get something cut out while we're talking, but who knows, it's kind of difficult to do that and talk at the same time, and you guys know me, I get carried away quick, so we'll see if I actually cut anything out. But we're talking about how I actually became a full-time stained glass artist. And again, I mean full-time stained glass artist by it pays all of the bills. It's my career, it's my full-time job making and selling stained glass online. So this isn't really a topic I particularly love talking about, just because there are so many variables that could change the outcome. Regardless if you do exactly what I did, it could never end up exactly how I ended up. It's just the reality of the situation. And knowing that my circumstances, whatever they may be, if you guys try to replicate them and it doesn't work out, it just makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to steer any of you guys in the wrong direction. So with that being said, I'm just going to be totally honest. I'm going to be brutally honest at some points, and I'm going to tell you what I think contributed to my success as a stained glass artist online so far in my career and all that stuff. So again, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. If you're not into that type of video, maybe skip this one. I'm not going to sugarcoat any of it. I'm going to tell you exactly like I think it is. So let's go back to the beginning. Now, you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I started making stained glass because I wanted to just make myself a decoration for Halloween one year. And I wanted to make myself a cauldron with a little fireplace underneath it and some bubbles. So I'm like, all right, let me get the basic knowledge, let me get the basic tools so I can make myself this piece. Long story short, at that time, there was almost no content on YouTube at all. That's why I do what I do now, because at that point, I couldn't find hardly any information on making stained glass, and everything I could find were super old videos. It was not great. Again, that's why I do what I do now. But point is, what I did learn is that I needed one of these to cut glass, I needed one of these to break them, I needed to wrap it in foil and solder it. So I learned the basics and then bought the basics. I bought the bare minimum to make stained glass, to make this piece, and tried to make it. So I would not be anywhere near okay with anybody even seeing the first pieces that I made, just because I've come so far. And I do regret selling stained glass as early as I did. Yes, it did come to me very naturally. I was luckily very good at it right away. I think having prior experience with soldering is what made the biggest difference as far as making stained glass and becoming as good as I was so quickly. So I got that first piece done, and point of that is, as soon as I got that piece finished, it was like a switch went off in my head. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was like I had that aha moment. This is it. I was like, this is my career. I found it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I just knew it. It was like deep in my soul. I knew I found my career. And at that point, I was still working a corporate job, normal 9 to 5, and I did not enjoy it. So it's like, all right, how do I make this my full-time job? And luckily at that point, I had a couple friends that had very small Instagrams and small Etsy shops and were selling on the side of their normal jobs. That is what really got me into the door and got me that basic information that I needed to start learning how to sell and build my platform on Instagram. So before we even get into the rest of the video, my platform on Instagram is my success. I will tell you that right now. It's not a good idea to put all of your eggs in one basket. I do not suggest it, but that is what happened for me. My Instagram just slowly built to where it is now. That is why I'm able to sell enough stained glass to support myself, to pay all my bills, all of that stuff. Without that, I would have nothing. Almost, I think it's like 0.3% of sales come from Etsy itself. All of my sales come from external sources, most of them from my Instagram that I built. So with that being said, if this is something you're looking into, you need to build a platform. None of this stuff is going to sell especially on its own in an oversaturated market. Reality is now in 2022, there are a lot more stained glass, there are a lot more stained glass accounts online than there was when I started. So already stepping into an oversaturated market, you're going to have to, one, do something that sets you apart from everybody else, and two, make sure that you build your platform from an external source to sell it. So even if you're working on like Squarespace, your own website, whatever it is, you need to have an audience to sell to. If you don't have an audience to sell to, you're not going to sell, point blank period. My success comes from my Instagram. That's just how it is. So it took me probably until maybe, I don't know, like 25K on Instagram before I started consistently selling out. And granted, it is completely different today. Like this month, this entire month, I took off from selling on Instagram because the state of Instagram is just so unpredictable, and so I could focus on YouTube. So things are constantly changing. Things are not nearly the same as they are today as they were when I first started. So it probably took me to get to about 25K, and I did that just through networking, building my community, doing giveaways, sharing things with my friends on Instagram that also had shops and an online presence. So I just worked as hard as I could. And at that point, what the Instagram algorithm wanted was consistency and good content. And by good content, I mean photos. So yes, Instagram has recently made that switch from not being a photo sharing app anymore. But at that point, they wanted consistency. So that meant posting maybe 3 times a day, even 1 time a day, every single day at the same time. And beyond that, making as much as you can. I was non-stop working. And I don't know how to even describe to you guys how much I was working. I think I've told you guys before that I worked so much that it started to, and still is, a hindrance on my relationships in real life. I work so much that it's a detriment to my friendships and even my marriage sometimes. I have to consciously make the effort to take a step back, to put the glass down, and to have a life. Because unfortunately, those first 3 to 4 years, I didn't have that option. So after I made that first stained glass piece, I knew it was my career. I just went for it, straight up. I quit my full-time job. After I saw the huge interest on my Instagram online, I knew I was going to be able to sell. I had already taken a couple customs at that point, and I knew I was just gonna go pedal to the metal. I was gonna do it, or I was never gonna do it. So again, I quit my full-time job. I made as much stained glass as I possibly could and started doing restocks, and they went very slowly. That's just how it was. The bulk of my work for the first, I don't know, 3 years was all custom work. It wasn't until these last few years that I had restocks that were selling out within 30 minutes. And again, it's very different now because of COVID and the way Instagram is. The last year has been completely different from the last 3 years, completely different than the last 5 years. But point is, I was able to sell, and I was able to sell enough to pay all my bills. Now, just a reminder, I'm married. I've been married for 10 years. I've been married since I was 18, and we split everything. Of course, he's a gentleman, and if we go out to dinner, he's paying for that. So I do have a leg up in that sense financially. So I think marriage in itself can be very much a leg up. And I don't like using that term because anybody can get married. When I was 16, I had a boyfriend, so my one boyfriend before my husband, and I moved out of my parents' house at 16. I haven't had financial support from them since probably before that. We struggled growing up. If you guys want to know about my childhood, the dark paths I went down, and more about me as a person, I will make a separate video for that. It'll probably take me a little bit to film it just because this already is kind of overwhelming for me to talk about. But if you want to hear about my childhood, how I grew up, all that fun stuff, I'll make a separate video. Just comment down below and let me know if you want to hear about that. So I haven't had any financial support from them, got married at 18, and I've been on my own since pretty much. Of course, I could always move back with my parents. My parents are my #1 cheerleaders. They're so supportive. My parents are fantastic, amazing people. I am blessed with that, and I'm blessed with being married to a wonderful husband and partner. So being married, I do think gives me that leg up. I'm trying to imagine what it would be like in today's landscape if I had to pay for everything on my own. I don't know if if it would be possible just because things are so expensive. Would I be able to pay for an apartment that's big enough to house me and to house my business, pay my car note, all that stuff? Would I be able to? I don't know. I don't know. So I guess I'm gonna kind of leave that up to you guys, and it is what it is. I have help because I have a husband and we're a team together in life. So other than that, I don't have a leg up, and I think the biggest part that was played into my success was how hard I worked. Again, it was too much. It was way too much. So much so that I developed anxiety for the first time in my entire life at age like 27. I had never even had a hint of what anxiety was, and I developed social anxiety because I didn't leave the house. All I did was work. That's it. And I don't know if there's a way to make just selling stained glass art online a sustainable job without doing that. I'm gonna be totally honest. And with the way that the world is right now, how expensive everything is, the price of metal going up, I don't know how anybody's gonna be able to do it, period. Even just as a hobby, it's become so expensive. So it's hard for me to talk about for so many reasons, and that being one of them. It's just, I don't know what the future of stained glass looks like. You know, I get so excited because there's been such a resurgence in stained glass, but the fallout from COVID alone has been devastating. So many stores have closed down. So many makers and glass makers like Spectrum moving out of the country. Just so many things have changed within these last few years, and it's so sad that it has happened in the middle of such a comeback of stained glass. So many of you guys my age out there who want to make stained glass and want to make it our career, now we're going through this difficult period of how do we even pay for it? I don't know. So I hope that things do change, and I am optimistic. Like I said, I love my job. This is my career, but what it's going to look like moving forward, I'm not sure. But what I do know, again, is how it happened to me in the first place, and that is largely I grew my Instagram following and I went as hard as I could. I made as much as I could. I took every single custom. I worked until 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even take a day on a weekend for those first 3 years. I kid you not. I did not even take a single day on the weekend those first few years. All I wanted to do was work. Not only because of financial reasons, but also because, again, it was my passion. I just discovered it, and I was so afraid that I was gonna lose everything that I built, and I still am. I still do get absolutely terrified, and those are just some of the downsides that come with being an online or a full-time artist of any kind. It is terrifying. Though there was, I don't know, 3 years of my restock selling out within the first 20-30 minutes, and now it's a completely different landscape because of COVID and because of how Instagram has changed. So it's really scary. But again, I don't want to discourage any of you guys from going after your dreams. If I never made that initial jump of quitting my job and saying I'm gonna force this to happen, I would not be where I am today. I would not have you guys. I teach on YouTube because when I went to go teach myself, I didn't have anybody to go talk to. I didn't have any quality videos to go look at online. That's why I'm here now. And I don't know. It's sad, it's scary, but it's also amazing. It's so much fun. I love my job. I know I'm so blessed every single morning that I wake up and I get to just lay in bed if I want to. I don't want to get up for another hour, which I never do, but we're just making examples here. Say I just want to chill on the deck with my dogs and drink a cup of coffee in the morning. I can do that. I have that freedom. But with all of those things comes all of those downsides. That week that you don't sell out, that week that you only randomly sell a couple pieces, how are you going to pay your bills? So it can just be really scary, and those are things to think about before you jump into this. I wish I knew before I started how stressful and how much this career would change me as a person. This has completely changed me as my core human being. I'm totally different than who I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago because of stained glass. So if you guys are going to try to replicate what I did, I do not suggest it. But if you are going to do it, just be aware of the fallout, of the downsides of what can happen because of it. Again, when I first started, I just had no idea. I knew it was my passion. I knew it's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I had no idea how I was going to make it happen. So I just kind of had tunnel vision. I put my head to the ground and I just forced it. I literally forced it, willed it to happen with every single fiber of my being, which is crazy. And I go back and forth all the time. I'm like, is it luck? Was I lucky that this happened to me? Or did I force it to happen because of how much work, time, energy, love, sweat, and tears I put into this career? I don't know which one it is. And that's why I struggle so much talking about it to you guys, because I just don't ever want to mislead you guys. I don't want to steer you guys wrong. What if it is just luck? What if I worked half as much as I did and I still would have ended up this successful? I don't think I would have, but it's always those what ifs. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some of it is luck, if luck is even a thing, I'm not sure. But I think the biggest things that contributed to my success was, one, my drive, so my willingness to work nonstop, and my passion. I've heard somebody say this before, there is a fine line between going after your passion and being realistic if that is what's paying the bills. Ultimately, you need to be smart about these choices that you make. If this is a career that's going to be paying your bills, you have to know when to let something go. You know what I'm saying? Be smart about it. Don't put yourself in a bad position, but also I'm never gonna tell you not to follow your dreams, because that's what I did. And right now it's working out, you know, I'm okay right now. So we'll see how it goes, but that's truly how it happened. I just made the decision. I said, this is it, this is my career. Again, it was like something deep in my soul latched on to stained glass, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life, and beyond that, teaching it. So when it came to me as quickly as it did, I had other people start telling me that this is what I should be teaching. I've been told for the last 10, 15 years that I need to start a YouTube channel for many, many reasons, but once I became as good as I did, as quick as I did at stained glass, I knew teaching it was going to be the ultimate goal. And again, that's why I'm here now. I'm taking time off from doing my normal stained glass restocks because I'm trying to make as much content as I can for you guys. I love stained glass so much, and like I've said before, don't ever put all of your eggs in one basket. Me putting all of my eggs in one basket, as in all of my sales, all of my everything came from my Instagram. Yes, I have a great platform on there. It's a great little community, but that's a not smart decision to put all of your eggs in one basket. So do something else like YouTube or whatever it is. Just try to diversify your income in as many ways as you can whenever you're self-employed, artist or not. So like I said, I just went for it full force. I made the decision, quit my full-time job, made as much as I possibly could, did that first restock, took as many customs as I could, and it's just been snowballing ever since. I've just continued to grow. I've continued to take customs. I've continued to get better at my craft. I've continued to diversify, like come here on YouTube, but I don't know. Is it luck? I'm not sure. Was it my insane work ethic? I think so. I do think so. Anything that you work hard enough, it's inevitable to happen. I think I literally just told a family member this a few days ago. If you want something bad enough, you will figure out how to make it happen. You will figure it out. You'll do anything you need to make it happen if you want it bad enough. And that's what this was for me. I wanted this so badly. I did everything and anything I possibly could to make it happen, including putting real life relationships on the line for it, which again, I regret. I do wish I could go back in time just a few years and just slightly alter my work play ratio just a little bit, because it's not good. I mean, even now it's not good, but it's a whole lot better, I will tell you that. So yeah, I don't know guys, I guess I'm just gonna kind of leave it there and leave it up to you guys to figure out why it happened. I don't know. Why I think it may have happened, because of my work ethic. I don't think it was luck, but I don't know. I go back and forth all the time. I could talk about this all day with you guys. So hopefully I answered that question. If you guys have any more questions, of course, leave them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to always answer my YouTube questions. I try to go through the comments as much as I can, but I do see some that I accidentally miss sometimes, and I don't know if I'm just not getting those notifications, but if I ever don't answer a comment from you guys, I'm so sorry. That's not on purpose. I do try my best to keep up with every single one of them. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, just leave them down below. Yeah, I think that's it for today's video, guys. Of course, we didn't get absolutely anything traced or cut. I totally called that. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you did, comment down below, and let me know what do you want to see next, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.